So starting back from where we left off, I'm going to go back to the testimonials because before the text wasn't showing up correctly, and I saw it was because there was a little bit of coding here to make this appear this way. So if you go back, right, so what I'll advise that you do is we put the text here in the short testimonial. So I'm just going to start back over at the testimonials page. So what I did was, if I open up the Deacon Morton one, this already has the coding in it. So there's a small amount of coding, which you'll see here and here. And that basically just adds a little bit of styling to the testimonial itself. So what I did, and what I recommend doing when you're adding a new testimonial, just come here to the short testimonial section, go ahead and copy that, and then when you add a new testimonial, so just as before, you'll add your title, whoever the name is. You'll set the featured image here so that their picture shows up, and then the only other thing you'll do is paste that you copied right from the previous testimonial, paste that right there in the short testimonial. So from here to here, in between the coding, so between block quote and block quote, this is where you'll put the testimonial. So whatever testimonial you have, I would just copy and paste right in here into this section, and just make sure it starts on the very outside of this bracket here, and then ends on the very inside of this one here. And that will keep them looking consistent and make sure that this formatting has been taken over to the others. So I'm not going to post this one, but you'll see I did this with, if I go back and leave, I did that with this Sonia testimonial here. So if I open up Edit, you'll see I have her name here in the title. I have her image here. And the only other thing I had to do was I took that code, copied it here, and then I pasted her testimonial right there. And that will show just like that. And you'll see, as I mentioned earlier, I'll go ahead and I have to enter in a different short code and make sure that this is on the slider settings, since it only had one slider in it before it wasn't, or a testimonial, excuse me. But now it has two, so it's stacking them on top of each other, but I'll change that to where it rotates. You won't ever have to worry about correcting that. Once it's set, then it'll be set. So I will make that update. Although I do kind of like the look of it with having testimonials on top of each other. However, you wouldn't be able to fit the amount of testimonials you have in here and still use the same amount of space. So I'll change that to a slider. So forms, that'll be the next thing I go ahead and go over here. So I know we went over this a little bit before, but I will go in a little more, or review it and show you how to actually add it into a page. So what you'll do is you go to your dashboard first, and you'll see a little Forms tab here. So you can go New Form, but I'll just go to Forms so that you can see the initial page, and it will show you each form that you have created. So this was the test one that we created the other day, so I'm going to trash that, and then I'm going to add a new form here. So we're going to make the form title. Alright, so you see you start off blank and it tells you select a field type, drag it. So it's all drag and drop. So you have your standard fields here, which are the very basic ones. So if you wanted a single line of text, if you wanted them to have a paragraph of text because they needed to provide some type of information or details, if you wanted to do a drop down, multi-select, and then you have advanced fields. This is basically some common used fields that are pre-put together, so you don't have to create each line individually. So most fields start off with name, or forms start off with name. So go ahead and add that, so you have the first and last name there. Once you open up settings, you can see there are some other settings. So if you wanted to include the middle name, then you select that, and you can see it added the middle name. And then you have the required field. So this is important. You may not necessarily want every field to be required, but the important ones that you want to make sure they don't leave out, so that you're able to contact them, you're going to want to do that. So the name, email, phone number, if there are any important questions you're asking on that particular form, you're going to want to go ahead and make sure you press that required. That way they cannot send the form without having that field selected. So we'll do that, and we'll go ahead and drop this back down. Alright, so then you have email. You can go ahead and drag that over, and you'll see, just like Cornerstone, it kind of shows you where it's going to drop. So you have email there, that's good to go. You can make that required if you would like. And this is also where you would change the field label. Every single one of these field elements here, you have the option to make the label here, the title, whatever you want. So if you want it to be a little more personal and say, please provide your email or something like that, you can change that, customize it to whatever you want. Right? So the advanced fields and appearance, I wouldn't get into anything with that. Again, that is what those settings are a little bit advanced if you wanted to take it further, but that's a little more technical than I think you would want to get into. However, one field that may come in use, so if you use if you use a single line text or one of the elements and you feel like you want a little bit more room, then if you come over to appearance here, then you have field size, and you can make that whatever you want. So if I make that large, then it'll obviously make this section here, the space that they have, it'll make it larger. So you'll see I bring that down to medium. Alright. So from there you have options, address. That one's convenient because there's a lot of fields in here that you'd have to create individually if you didn't use that. If you want them to be able to upload some type of file, then you can add the custom file here, and this will allow them to, if it's a signed document or a permission slip or anything like that, then this will give them the option to upload that file and have it sent to you and included within the form. So going back to standard fields here, for certain forms you create, a lot of the content is going to be custom. So you'll want to take advantage of these. You have single line text. So that's just if it's a few word answer that they're providing, then you just go ahead and put it here, and you will make that whatever obviously you want it to be, and then it appears right up here. And then you have drop down. So I believe I used this as an example the other day. So for this, you can. So I'll typically recommend making the first section here. Choose one. And then you can do the second choice. So say you were taking the order count for an event that they're registering for. You can say chicken, beef. It comes custom with, or automatic with 3, but you can just press a plus sign, add another one. And then you can do fish. Make it required, that way you know that they're going to select one of the meals. And then whichever little one you have selected here is what's going to appear first, which you're going to want to be choose one. So when once this is live, this will be clickable, and it will have the drop-down fields that you just selected. And so multi-select. So if you wanted them to be able to provide several different answers as opposed to one, then you can, for whatever the question would be, you can have some random text in here, and they'll be able to select multiple items if you have the need to create something like that. Then you have paragraph text. So for paragraph text, close that. Paragraph text, you take that and go ahead and drop it in. And that's basically just going to provide them a nice big block if you were asking for information that's going to be a few sentences or more long. You want to make sure you provide them enough space to where they can actually see what they're typing when they're done. So something of that nature, and then allow them to have plenty of room to go ahead and fill in their answers. That should be, for the most part, pretty much everything that you would use. Some of these, again, are a little HTML that has code involved in it. For the most part, everything else, other than the obvious ones, phone you could use, date you could use, but those should be the basic fields you need to create any form, unless you were getting into some really specific or technical things that you can do with this. But if you're creating any general forms or questionnaires, then basically that should be enough to get you covered. So what I'll do now is I'll update the form to go ahead and save this test form. Alright, it says here, form updated successfully. So I'll go back to the forms page. And I will go ahead and, you can see the test showed up here and is populated in the menu now. So what you're going to want to do is make sure that this form, when it's filled out, goes to the right person. Excuse me, my Google Calendar talking to me again. So you're going to want to go to settings for that, and it's going to give you form settings. So that's where you can change the name, the description of the form, which typically you're going to leave all that standard. Confirmations, that can change what the people receive once they're done with the form, but by default a message pops up right now that once they've completed the form, it says your form was successfully submitted, thank you, some type of general message like that. So the last one is notifications, and this is where you would make sure that the form is going to the correct person. So you'll see your only option here is admin notification. So go ahead and edit that. Right now it's set up to the admin email, so that's default. So you can change this to whatever you like. So if you wanted to do tlc_coleman@gmail.com, that would go to that email address. And then if you wanted multiple people to receive this, then you would just do a comma there and then add the new email address right there, and you can do this several times. You can include everybody on this form. Right. So the rest of the settings, the from email, this just by default, this is set up to where it appears to be coming from the admin email. If you want it to look like it's coming from a generic church email instead of your own, then you can enter that right here, and you can just go ahead and add the email address, and it will fill that in automatically. That should be it. The subject, the standard subject title, this is what you'll see in your subject email whenever somebody fills it out and you receive the form. You'll have new submission form, and then it'll have the title here, which in this instance is test, but which would be replaced with whatever you name the title. And that is pretty much it for the settings and making sure that they're going to the right place. So make sure that after you do that, you go ahead and update the notification, which I don't have anything here. So these are fake, obviously, so I'm not going to update that. But what I will do is show you how to add that to a page. So now you created a form, you want to go ahead and add a form. So if you wanted the form to be on an already existing page. So if we went to What We Believe and we wanted to add the form here, we would go to the page, go to the editor. You can see this was made in Cornerstone. So we're going to use Cornerstone. Right, you'll see just like the Cornerstone before, this one obviously has a lot less elements, so it's only one column, one section, and one long element. So if we wanted to add a form here, then we would just go to the little element section here, do form, and you'll see gravity forms. You'll take that, drag it, drop it right at the bottom. Alright, and it's going to choose a default one, but you can come over here with this menu on the left and change that to whatever you want. So you can see now it's switched over to tests. It has all the different fields that we supplied where you can upload a file if you wanted to and include that. You know, this single text line that asks a particular question. This one was entitled, but you know, what type of food are you going to want? Chicken, beef, fish? Go with beef. And this one just has multi-select, so it added 3 different lines of text here. And then you'll use, for this, if you wanted to display to where they can check each individual option, then you'll want to use the radio buttons tab, which is set up the exact same way as the drop down. It's just instead of a drop down, it appears as a list that they can actually check off with their mouse. And then finally have the so we have the paragraph text here, but for some reason this is showing addresses. So I'm going to want to go back and check this. We don't need to save the page because we're not using it, or we're not actually adding that form there. But you would want to make sure you save that if you were adding the form. So go to forms. Go edit form. Edit is where you actually edit the elements, and settings is where you change the information attached to the form. So this is set up as a general paragraph, so I'm not sure why it would be asking for an address. I'm going to show you what I meant with the radio buttons. So radio buttons. Add that here. And you can see you have the different options for what they can check. First choice, second choice, third choice. And that would show there. So I'm just going to update this. And that is how you would add the form to an individual element page. And so if you wanted to, let me go ahead and update that, not that it matters. So if you wanted to create a form that was in a drop-down menu, so maybe it was part of ministries or part of our church, and you just wanted a link that went directly to the form. So what you would do is you would create a new, add a new page. So I'd actually go to add new, and then new page. And with this is pretty simple, so I'll just use the visual instead of the cornerstone. I'll go ahead and make sure that my cursor's here. And then right beside add media, you have add form. Add form, select the form, you're going to do the test form. You can display the title if you want to display the description. I included the title as test, but I did not include the description. So I'll insert the form. You would have the title here. So test form. Right now this is going to create a URL, which you can see right here. So I'll go ahead and publish that. And then to add that to the menu, we'll go to Appearance, and then come over to Menus. And you'll see here, this is the actual menu structure. So anything that's lined up directly right here, all the way to the left, is an individual menu item. So those are the main menus. And the ones that are over here just a little bit to the right, these are all the drop downs. So if you wanted to add a new page, you'll see here typically it shows the most, the standard, it shows the most recent pages. So if you have added a page, it should be right at the top here. You can search, you can view all pages if there was another one you wanted to add. But we have the test form one here, so I'll click that, go add to menu, and you'll see it automatically adds it right here at the bottom. So I'll just click that, scroll up, and we'll add that to maybe the leadership. Maybe it's somebody applying to be part of the leadership within the church. So I'll save that. Make sure you save the menu. Visit the site. And you'll see right here under leadership, there is now the test form field. And you see here, here's the field, or here's the form. You see now that paragraph text is working. Untitled, you choose one, first choice, second choice, third choice, choose file, address. So you have all the form, all the fields there within the form. And then once they hit submit, then that will go directly to whichever email you accounted for in the admin settings of the form. So that should pretty much cover the form. So between building the form, adding the form to an existing page, and adding the form to the drop-down menu. Now obviously we don't want this here, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that real quick. So I'm going to go to Appearance, Menus. Right, now we'll come down here to Test Form. Go ahead and press a little arrow there for a drop-down, and then remove that. And then as always, make sure we save it. Alright, so I believe the last thing that was on the list are the two gallery issues. So the first is photo gallery. So what I noticed with this was when these images were uploaded, they were not linked. So that's just something that I'll have to go in and individually link these to the original document, and I'll show you real quick exactly how I do that. Alright, so if I was adding an image here, alright, so we're going to select an image. Say I'm using her. And what I will do is take this URL here, insert that in the page, so we have a nice image here. Once I click that, we'll go ahead and have the link, and then paste that there. So remember I said earlier you'll have a URL, a domain will be created for each individual media file that you upload to your library. So I just copied that media file and then pasted it here under href. Anywhere you see href, that is referring to the link that is associated with that image or text or anything like that. So just turn the link on. Go ahead and do that. Paste the link here that goes to that. Save it. And I'll view the page. So you see now we click that and it expands the image. Alright, so that's how you would do that if you needed to make sure that these images were linked to be able to be seen larger. And for the past events, and again, so for this page here, you'll see I created a page with the gallery images. So this is the main image. Anytime you have a new event that you're going to want to show people, what I did was I created an image that I linked to the page that I created the gallery on. And then I also have a title here. So what you would do is you would just space down, center that to make sure it's aligned with the other image. Add a media, so whatever image it is, insert that there. Go ahead and center align that so it's aligned with everything else. Now this one had a caption on it, so normally that wouldn't happen, but it would be event title here. I'm going to highlight that, align it in the center. And for this, so for Memorial Day, this is a heading 4, so I made it a little bit bigger. So I will do heading 4 here. And I think this is taking some extra coding because that was part of the caption is what it was. So I'm going to paste that there, the back line center, there we go. Now it's right in the center where we wanted it. So I'll take that, I'll make that into the heading 4 to match the other. And then whichever new page I added the image gallery onto, I will take the URL from that new page and I will link it using this. Paste whatever the link is in here, then press apply, and that'll add the link. And then do the same with the image. So whatever you're going to want to replace this, because this is the standard image URL, you're going to replace that with the page image so they can click on the image and it'll take them to the page as well. So adding a new gallery to a page, I'll stay here and show you how I do it. Alright, so I'm going to open up and add a new page. Alright, so let's say 4th of July 2016. So this is the gallery, going to be the actual gallery images for 4th of July 2016. So to create a gallery, it's pretty simple. You're going to go here to add media, make sure that your cursor is where you want it. Add the gallery, and you'll see here normally just use upload or media library when you're selecting individual images. But for this, apologize for that, I don't know how to stop those messages from coming through. You're going to do create gallery. So when you create a gallery, it's going to create a new gallery. And you are, so if you're uploading new images, you can go ahead and bulk upload them all at once, and they'll all appear in a row right here at the top. And you would just go through, just like I am now, and select all the images that you want to be included. Take that one off, in the gallery. So we create a new gallery, and you'll see here it gives you a preview of the gallery, and you can set. You're going to want to link to the media file, and that will help blow up the image and create a link to the image on each individual picture. And depending on how many pictures you have here is going to depend on how many columns you want. So, if you have 15 pictures, then maybe 5 columns of 3 would be best. So we'll leave that there, and you can set the image sizes to either thumbnail, so they're all going to be square and perfectly aligned, or medium, so that they're all around 300 pixels wide. They may not fit together as perfect because all the images aren't going to be the same exact size, but that's something that you can judge. So you insert that into the gallery. You see the gallery here, looks good, and if you wanted to, maybe you previewed it and notice that you want to go ahead and do the thumbnail sizes as opposed to the medium size. You want these to be a little bit smaller. So you can just click on this and it'll give you this little pencil. You can edit it, and then it'll open up this gallery settings again, and you can change this from medium to thumbnail. Update the gallery, preview again. It'll refresh this previous preview window, and then you can see they're smaller now, and they also have a white border around them. You see, we click on it now, there's the picture, and some of these are large. The reason that they're getting large, that's something I'm going to fix myself, but basically the size of the image is in its original format taken by whatever camera was used, so it's a very large picture, so it's blown up to its full size, but I'm going to add custom coding to be sure that none of the images that are opened up on the web page will be bigger than the screen provided. So that will be in an overall setting that you won't have to worry about changing later, and it will affect all image sizes. So I'll go ahead and do that and make that correction after I'm done recording this video, and that should be set before you guys are prepared for launch. So I'll make sure I get that taken care of here shortly. I believe we covered everything. I know, so if I go to, all right, so going back into your OneDrive account here, go back. All right, so I want to go back to the main drive. And it is not letting me. There we go. All right, so let's see, Memorial Day 2016. So let's look at this real quick. So these two appear to be, I believe those were the images that were turned sideways. Let's see here. Obviously it's too big, but it was turned sideways as well. So I believe you can rotate the images from the library. Let's check all that real quick. I'm just going to open up the media. Go to my library. All right, so let's see. Edit more detail. That's not what I wanted to do. Edit image. So you can actually do that on the previous page instead of having to go there. So you open up the image, press edit image here, and then you can see the options right here to rotate the individual images. So you rotate that way, so if it does for some reason upload sideways, just use this little here in the image editor, go ahead and save it. It's taking forever to load right now, but I believe that might be my computer. I have quite a few windows and programs open because I have a lot of different tasks I'm working on right now. But typically this will save. It won't take this long. Let's try it again. And you can see the dimensions are 5,312 pixels for each one. So we can scale that down to 900 pixels. We already have that switched. Scale it down, and that will solve the problem. That'll solve the problem with the giant images appearing, which we'll just do individually. So it's telling me an error, but again, I think that's because I'm running too many different things. So you can change this here to whatever you need it to be if this ever comes up in the future. So whenever you're adding images from a camera, and this is a really good high quality camera, so that's why these pixels are so large. Typically you don't want an image to show up on somebody's screen over 1200 pixels because what happens is exactly what you saw, where it blows up and shows too much of the image. and zooms in kind of on the middle or a random area. Alright, so that's all set. And I believe that covers it for the photos, both on the events and the gallery page. So that's all I have on my list here to show you. Going through, again, be sure that on a monthly basis that you're coming here. When you hover over dashboard, it shows you home and updates. And updates, if you do have any updates available, it'll show you a little orange icon similar to this right here, this 3. It'll be right here beside the updates, and it will show you, if you have 2, 3, 4, however many it is, it'll bring you to the plugin page, or to the updates page. That'll show both the theme and the plugins that need to be updated. And all of your stuff's up to date. This will be enabled and live once we make the site live. So you can't do that right now, but typically you would just, you'll have the plugins here, and then have the themes here. And whatever needs to be updated, you just go ahead and select each one individually, or you can do select all, and then just do update. And the same for plugins. It would have the same little section that's here, but it would be right here under plugins and have a button that says update plugins. As far as maintenance on the website, that's about it that you'll have to do. Just keep an eye on that. If you went months without updating, then it is possible that some of the plugins could get out of date and create issues with the other plugins, and the code can be kind of conflicting. So I believe that is it. I think I covered everything that you wanted to, as well as the previous video that has some additional information as well. So I will go ahead and upload this video and send it over to you. If you have any questions, please let me know, and we'll get this site launched and ready to go. All right.